Defining service providers and the services that they provide are an important part of the fee disclosure process in the fi360 toolkit. To help define these attributes and areas, we can go to Settings, Expense Settings, and let's start off with service providers. As you go into the service provider section, this is the area where you will define the specific provider name and their arrangement with the clients, the 401k plans in the toolkit. So let's take an example that's already been created, MDC Advisors. And if we pull them up, the contact information is located on the right, but let's just focus on the options on the left. First, the name of the specific provider, and then the checkbox, do they have a direct agreement with the client? So that's an important checkbox to note. It'll help define the reporting in the fee disclosures, so make sure that you're checking that if the provider has a direct agreement. The other options are valuable as well, and ensuring that the fee disclosure is showing that information, showing this direct agreement. And then if that service provider is an affiliate or subcontractor. So in this case, the MDC Advisors is not an affiliate or subcontractor, but if we go to this provider here, again, the contact information isn't filled in, but the service provider does not have a direct agreement with the client. So they're either an affiliate or a subcontractor to a provider that has a direct agreement. So Top Notch TPA has a direct agreement with a client, and Silverbank is providing services to Top Notch as an affiliate capacity, and you can define whether they're an affiliate or a subcontractor in this section. So it's important to jump in here and define those arrangements and agreements with the other service providers in the toolkit. Again, these are defining those specific providers. For example, Top Notch TPA, you may have other TPAs listed, you may have the other custodians, other service providers listed in here. If we jump to service provider types, these are more the generic types overall. So again, in our example of a TPA, if we pull this up, we can jump in here and define what a TPA is, define a description. This is just the general idea of the TPA. Again, this may only be defined in your toolkit once. You may have several different TPAs defined in the service provider. So again, just the general description of what a TPA is and what they provide. The last thing that we can set up are services. So these are the specific functions or tasks performed by the service provider. Again, in the toolkit there have been a few of them predefined for you and pre-filled in. Feel free to jump in and change the information if you need to. So for committee meetings, if we click on that, we can define the specific description of that service, whether it's being served in a fiduciary or non-fiduciary capacity, and then we can store that information in the system. So these three areas are general areas that will be used to help you complete the fee disclosure process. They'll be used when you build the client in the client cabinet, and then also help you to build compensation to describe the exact fees that are being charged. So it's important to set these up, or at least review them before you go and build compensation or build a client, just so you have an idea of how this information will be used.